This is the Ink, Pray, Love podcast. We talk all things health, wealth, and community connection. Let's go. Welcome back to the Ink, Pray, Love podcast. We are here at Lighthouse Studios in Bali, the premier space. If you want to shoot something, film your content, film your class, film your course, do whatever you want, come on in here. We'll hook you up. I'm here today with a special friend of mine. This is Annie Winters. She is an Emmy award-winning actress. She's my friend. She's one of my coaching clients, and she is building something amazing for you to hear. But she has some great stories to tell, and I just want to be really, really grateful to you for coming down. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course. Well, I live here now. I'm in Bali full time, so it wasn't too hard. I didn't fly all the way here. I just drove. It's nice.
You did come back from LA pretty recently.
Yes. I've been out here for 3 weeks now from LA, and it feels like I've been here for a while. It just feels like home. I do feel home here. I love it.
What's it like transitioning from LA Hollywood life to now being Bali life?
Well, there's still a lot of traffic.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep.
I would say I just feel a sense of community here. Like, it's so much more personable than LA. LA, I feel like everyone walks around and doesn't talk to each other and just is like looking at each other and judging each other and like with all these sassy looks. And I feel like here, just walking up and down my street, I have made so many friends. I definitely have more friends here in 3 weeks than I ever really had in LA, which is crazy to me, which makes me feel like I'm in the right place.
That's so nice to hear. And I know exactly what you mean, because that was a big step for me, was like, wow, I had a big friend circle quickly here that you get to see and get to hang out that are supportive and caring. And it's a little bit different, maybe, as they would say, a little outside of the matrix or however it is, but it's a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
What was it like in LA? I want to hear about, how did you become an Emmy award-winning actress? What were you in? What were some of the things people can recognize you from? What was that part of your life like?
Yeah. I was in Night School with Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish. Was probably the biggest top box office hit that I was in. I also was in 13 Reasons Why. A lot of people noticed me from 13 Reasons Why. My trainer actually at the gym noticed me from 13 Reasons Why, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't get noticed that often. And I worked with Nicolas Cage, Selma Blair. I worked with Eva Longoria for a while on a TV show called Grand Hotel on ABC. And yeah, ever since I was 14 years old or 15, I started working right away. And I got to a point where I was working 2 projects at once. So I would fly back and forth from one set to another. And it was I was always on set. I was always working. I was always pretending to be somebody else, which is kind of what led me to be coming here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and within that, I did a show called Zach and Mia, which is what I won my Emmy for, which is the coolest reward I've ever gotten. It just made me feel like, wow, I'm definitely on the right path. But that project is still my favorite project to this day because we worked with, so my character had cancer. We were in a cancer unit, and it was about 2 kids falling in love that shared a wall between them. And they would knock on it and yell over the thing, and they would get in fights, and then they ended up falling in love. But throughout that, we went to different hospitals and talked to a bunch of kids and parents that were dealing with this in their life, and cried with them. And it was the only project that I've ever worked on that I felt like I was really helping people. And I felt like I was really there and got to witness helping people. I know that 13 Reasons Why, I know that was a really big impactful show that probably helped people, but I wasn't there to see it. And I feel like I got to see some cancer survivors and people that were going through it. And, there were some that passed away that we had met. It was really heartfelt and in that way. So I'm glad that was what I won my Emmy for. I think it shows in the work that I did because I was really there emotionally with it. But yeah, that all led me to kind of not really knowing who I am. I grew up pretending to be someone else. If you think about it, method actor, not method actor. I still was playing a role on set for most of my formative years, I would say. So when that ended and I kind of stopped working right away for COVID, and then after COVID we went back to work, but still it was really like kind of COVID time that I'm like what do I do without a job? What do I do without working? Like, who am I? And it was really confusing, and I kind of just drank a lot. Like, that was when I really started like drinking and not really caring, just kind of waiting for a job, not really like thinking about what should I be doing, because I had never had to think about what I should do. I just got told, come to this set, put on these clothes, say these lines, and here's your money. And it was like easy. And then not easy to get there, but like when you're on set and working, it was quite easy for me. And I think I just lost a sense of what made me happy, what brought me joy outside of a job, outside of work, outside of getting a paycheck. And that was really confusing for me.
Feels like you were kind of caught in like a routine or like a certain set of actions that didn't have a lot of you thinking or you time, because you just had to go and just do a bunch of monotonous stuff.
Right.
So I feel like, I get what you mean when I wasn't obviously making movies or anything, but if I was just in a routine day-to-day, cookie cutter lifestyle, like doing the same thing, like having a job back at home before I became a total weird person. And I just go to work every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's my sense of adventure or autonomy or self-discovery or anything? I just have to get up early, go to work all day, be tired, go to sleep, wait for the weekend, get drunk on the weekends.
Right.
Then Monday morning, go back to work, get up early, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just like the cycle. And I felt like my soul was dying because I was just sucked into habits and coping and drinking. And so I know what you mean.
Well, the good news about my work that I did get was a sense of travel. I think that's what sparked my travel bug. So my first project that I worked on filmed in Israel. So I lived in Tel Aviv for like 6 months.
Cool.
And that was amazing. But at the time I was like this kid from Texas, just moved out to LA that got to move to Israel. And I was like, this sucks. Like, I want to be in LA. I hate this. I hate traveling. Like, where's my usual like sandwich that I get? Like, what is all this weird food? And I was so like out of my comfort zone for sure. It took me a minute to like warm up to it. And then I found myself, making local friends. And that's how I kind of really got the sense of how to travel and not know anybody and make friends, and also like trying the new foods around. And I lived really close to the beach, so I walked to the beach every day, and I started like slowly but surely making it work for me. And then I ended up loving it, and I was like, traveling is so awesome. I learned so much about people, culture, and like I'm such a different person. That was what really shaped me, was that big jump that I had no control over, and I didn't really prepare myself for it either. I was just like, great, I'm on a show, it films in wherever, and I'm going to be there, and I'm excited. And it was a whole lot of free time. I only filmed like once every maybe 10 days or something. Wow. So it was a lot of free time that I didn't know what to do with, and I had to really learn, how to like do things for myself.
How old were you at this time?
I had just turned 18.
Okay, wow. Sounds like a fun experience though, to be out there doing that.
It was a really fun experience. It ended up being a really fun experience. Yeah, we also were there during kind of one of the wars that started, so I got to see in the air the Iron Dome and the rockets coming from Gaza, and it was crazy. Wow. I know. It's sad what's happening all around there right now. Sure. But yeah, my whole closet was a bomb shelter. It was a massive closet.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That is crazy.
So I got the sense of travel then, and then kind of after that, I was spoiled, because after that I was just like either in Atlanta or LA and in a set, and it did feel a little bit more like work. Like, it didn't feel like there was that, adventure thing, and I had been seeking that a lot. So yeah.
And around that time, after COVID, and there was more drinking involved, how did things go? Because COVID was hard for me too. It was, I think, obviously the entire planet went through a lot, where substance abuse issues, mental health issues. identity issues. Like I had them. I know so many people had them. Like that was a hard time for a lot of people. And it was really easy to lean on whatever we could lean on, Netflix, drugs, porn, whatever. It was just like a lot of
Yeah.
people needed stuff because it was an uncertain, weird time.
Yeah.
What was your COVID time like?
Yeah. I mean, well, the drinking for me started a lot before COVID. It was mainly a way to kind of relax after work. Like I would have probably at least 4 or 5 glasses of wine starting really young, like even 18, really, because I drank, in high school a lot. I drank in high school a lot. And then I was like, if I'm going to take acting seriously, I need to like kind of stop drinking. So I came out here, kind of stopped a little bit. But then, I make friends and they party on the weekends and things like that. So I was drinking. But ever since I can really remember, definitely since 21, I would drink every single night after I got off work. It would be like my thing. Like I get home and I have my glass of wine, which turns into at least 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then that would be just like every night. And then it turned into like kind of like a bottle after work. And then I would start getting like groggy in the mornings for work, which I, then would start taking like a little bit of Adderall to like wake up in the morning. And then that was kind of the pattern. But I was always working. So my saving grace, like I'm not an alcoholic, was I don't drink when I'm working, but pretty much when I wasn't working, I was drinking.
Yeah.
So during COVID, since I wasn't working, I was like, well, what else do I do other than work? I drink. So I would just start drinking during the day. And I never got like, messed up to where like I was falling over and like belligerent and things like that. So I never really thought too that I had a problem, because I thought of like, alcoholic, they're like really bad. I'm just drinking throughout the day, just constantly keeping a buzz on, kind of getting tipsy, but not getting like crazy.
Yeah.
And COVID just kind of really like exacerbated the drinking habit.
Yeah.
It mainly just became more of like a daily habit. This is just what I do. I wake up and I pour a white wine spritzer and like sit outside and have fun. And this is what I do every day now. And then when we went back to work from COVID, it became, there was a whole lot that happened in COVID. It was like we got back, but like our film production didn't go back, and then it went back down again. And then it was like finally safe. It was like probably 2 years or something, like 1.5 years at least, 2 years before we went back to work and refinished like what we had started before COVID. And so by that time, it was like such a daily habit that I was kind of nervous to go to work without having my wine. And so I would start drinking throughout the day on set. Luckily, I got all my, like, in my mind, I was like, I got all my big scenes where I had a lot of words and speaking before COVID, thank God. So afterwards, I had a lot of like times where I would just pipe in and say something, but I was there the whole time, but I would just, not really need to say a lot.
Sure.
So I was like, whatever, I don't really need to like.
Did anybody know?
No. And actually, part of the entertainment industry, we drink on set. Like sometimes on days where there's not a lot, like I was on a very action-packed show called The Orville on Hulu, season 3. Maybe you guys can see, like, when is Annie drunk and when is she not? That's a fun game.
That's a good game, yeah.
But we, on days where it would be a lot of, like, visual effects and stuff where no one really had lines, and it was just us, like, in the spaceship, like, getting rocked all over the place in a battle scene and stuff, people would bring drinks to set, and everyone would kind of, like, have a drink and relax, and yeah. So it was more normalized, which I think also made me feel like I don't have an issue.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Hollywood is, alcohol, cocaine.
Yeah, exactly.
Drugs,
people had wine and doing their hair and makeup. And I mean, this wasn't on every set, but especially this one. So yeah, I didn't realize I had an issue. So I finished filming that, and then after that ended, that's when I really didn't have work. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't anything. Now I'm just kind of auditioning again, but there wasn't really any good auditions. Like I wasn't really getting anything. It was just very creatively depleting. Like even if I get an audition and I love an audition, I feel really good. Like I feel like I'm doing like something that I feel fulfilled. But without even that creative outlet, it was really like nothing. So it was like COVID, but like even worse because now I really realize like I'm basically living COVID life, but it's back. And it was like really depressing. So again, I just kept drinking all day. And that's also when the eating disorder was like kind of revving up. I was like kind of the only thing that I really had going for me that I was excited about was food at the time. So there was so much focus on food. And then I went to the doctor. I don't remember what, but basically I got my blood done for something. And she said that my liver wasn't in a good spot. So I was like, oh, well, okay, that makes sense. So I tried kind of cutting back on drinking and I noticed that my heart was beat like crazy. Like I thought that I just had really high anxiety. So like I need drinking to cope with the anxiety because which is true. I mean, I used drinking to cope with anxiety. It was like my only coping tool. It was my best friend to like cope with life and things. And in high school, it was to escape my controlling dad. And it was to get rid of that anxiety of like, I'm not good enough. And then it just was everything to me. So I realized that I needed to kind of stop. But when I tried stopping, I was having like these actual physical symptoms. So I went back to the doctor, got prescribed like, heart medicine to make your heart rate go down for anxiety. And that was to basically not drink on. So she was like, look, I think that if you take these, you can't drink. So I was like, okay, well, let me try not drinking and taking these for a little bit of time. That didn't work at all. I was like just taking those and drinking and my heart was still going like this and I'm freaking out. Like I'm thinking like I'm going to die this way. Like this is not okay. So the doctor had told me too that I should go to rehab because she was like, how much are you drinking a day? And I'm like, 2 bottles of wine and a couple mixed drinks, like at least. And she was like, I think you need rehab. And I was like, rehab? No, like I'm fine. Look at me now. Like I do okay when I'm drinking. And she's like, well, have you drank today? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, what do you drink other than wine? Like, what are you drinking in your, because I carry my water bottle with me everywhere. And I was like, well, this is wine. And she was like,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I think you need rehab.
Yeah.
And I was like,
just carry around your wine bottle, your water bottle. Yeah.
I was like, no, rehab just sounded, in my mind, rehab just sounded so bad.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not smoking crack. Come on.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm not that bad. Sure. So, anyway, I ended up feeling like I was at wit's end and I couldn't stop. Because if you look up, stopping drinking after becoming like addicted to alcohol, you could die. Like you could have a seizure.
Yeah, totally.
And I was so bad off with my anxiety, my heart beating fast, me shaking, me having night sweats that I was like, I could have a seizure.
Like, I'm definitely gonna die.
That's where my head is at. So I then and there called a rehab facility in Malibu, just the first one that kind of came up that looked cute, and I just. It had to look cute.
What was cute about it?
Like it was on the beach.
Right.
It was on the beach. It was on the beach.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So I was like, if I'm going to recover anywhere, it's going to be on the beach. I'll get a nice getaway,
Of course.
So I called and, did all the questions and everything. They go through an intake process and it just worked out. They said that they'll call me when they had a bed available, but be ready, be packed, because it could be like any moment that they call me, because people leave that place like crazy. They drop like flies. I was there and it's like new people come in and then people leave like AMA, which is like against medical advice. And it was crazy. But they told me until we call you, you have to drink every day like you have been doing, like don't do anything different.
You're like, sweet.
And I was like, great. I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
But actually, to be honest, I started hating alcohol. This was not fun for me.
Totally.
I was not liking drinking. When I get told that I have to drink to survive, that's when I'm like, okay,
there's a line here.
F you, alcohol. Are we allowed to say the F word here?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, okay. Like, fuck you, alcohol. Like, that's where I was at.
Yeah.
And I hated even the taste of it. I was just like, this is now medicine that I have to drink. Like I have to drink poison for my body, which just felt so gross.
Which is like almost a good thing that part happened though.
Yeah, because I'm so disgusted with it now. I'm 8 months sober now, and I'm so not triggered. I go to the AA meetings. I love that community. I've met some really great people. But I genuinely don't feel triggered with alcohol around. It's not a thing for me anymore. It was such a past thing. I see it as like an ex-boyfriend that I like am okay with now. I think I've told you this of like, you know, I broke up with him. We had a great time. It was amazing, but there's no way in hell I would go back to him.
Yeah, great.
You know what I mean?
Totally
but I can see him around.
Yeah.
He's fine. I'm fine. That kind of thing. So that's how I see.
You move past.
That's how I see the bottle.
That's
now.
a good relationship to have with it. You know,
Yeah,
it's really good. I feel like opiates are much more difficult. Like I remember I was sharing with you when we first connected, and I was like, I went to rehab when I was 25, and I was heavily addicted to opiates, but I was still a drug dealer, and I was trying to get clean, but I was doing the drugs I was selling, and obviously that's not a good business model. It just doesn't work very well that way. but I was making so much money it didn't really matter, which is also stupid. Like it's just, you know, it's just like going on set and everyone's drinking. It's just like, well, it's not so bad, is it? And then I was like, I got to do something about this. So I checked myself and I paid for my own rehab. Probably wasn't a bougie Malibu nice, you know, across the beach, because it was called Maple Ridge Treatment Center, which was half of the people in there were government ordered from jail to go there. So I had a whole bunch of like serious heroin junkies and people coming out of prison and stuff. And so my first day I was like a little bit scared to go there, but then I remembered I'm a drug dealer and then all of these guys are just like kind of junkies. Like there's a different standing here in the social hierarchy. At the time I had a big head, of course, but I also knew like, what are you scared about? And before long I was like, I could pick up customers here actually. Like it was just like my mind was so fucked up. And I became the chess champion of the rehab center. Like that's a win. And it was just like a funny, fucked up, weird situation, but I get it why it's so important and how slim the chances are. Like it's like 10% of the people make it. Like that's why the turnover is so high. That AMA that you're talking about, it's crazy. It's super difficult, especially with opiates. Like your body needs it. Like you need it or you're going to get super, super sick. I mean, alcoholism is similar. And so it's crazy to go through that situation. So I commend anybody who's stayed clean to get out. It's not easy. Yeah. Especially when the hooks are in and you've built your life around this. There's a lot of hoops to jump through to get out, right? And so then to make it out of that, I think it develops a different type of resilience for people.
100%.
Like, you think different now, and you went through some really hard shit to get out of that, and you're seeking to do the work on yourself. So you just see the world a little different now after going through something like that. Yeah. So I think it's something I really respect, people who make it out and are able to get through it. Yeah. Also, then you lived a cool life. Like there's just like, we've done some crazy shit. It's kind of interesting.
It is. It's definitely interesting. The stories that I heard, there actually was a girl in there that was my roommate that had been to jail, and the jail stories were something else. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was kind of that experience though that really changed me and changed kind of the trajectory of what I wanted to do, because I saw these people and I really did see them as strong people. Like now when I hear the word rehab, I'm no longer like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I'm like, good for you. Yeah. Like honestly, I think that anybody ever could go to rehab and do work on themselves, and like
for anything,
drugs or not, like everyone is addicted to something. Yeah. Everyone's addicted to something. And it's not even really about addiction necessarily. Like addiction is like what ends up happening because of like this iceberg of problems that you have from childhood and all the traumas and all of the things that I realized like, wow, I am fucked up and I had no idea. And I just drank because in my mind, I was just thinking like, you know, I was so surface when it comes to how I got there. And then going through rehab, I really like understood that, yeah, like there was trauma there, and there was like hurt there, and there was this here and this limiting belief and all of these things. And going through that, I was like, I feel like everyone needs this, because I grew up and have just such a history with family of being like sweeping it under the rug and like everybody's fine. And if I said, I was drinking, they'd be like, you're fine. If I said I had anxiety or anything, I could never say I had anxiety. That would be laughed at. I mean, it would just be like, haha, so does everybody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be taken seriously. So I think for me, it was really like, whoa, I can't wait to like show this growth and tell like my family and my friends and be like, hey guys, like maybe are you guys okay? Cause like I didn't realize I wasn't okay, but like you guys may not realize you're not okay. And kind of like really get to know people underneath, because that's what I found to be so helpful. And at the rehab too, I was kind of known for, which made me feel so purposeful, of like getting everybody together. I was there during Thanksgiving, and I remember no one was going to eat together because we all kind of eat whenever we want. And I like went down to the office. I went up to like get everybody, and I was like, guys, it's Thanksgiving. We're all eating together.
Mm-hmm.
Like they made us food they made turkey, they made whatever for the Thanksgiving dinner. And we're not just going to all eat separately. So we all came together and we all sat there for like a good hour, and everyone kind of got to know each other. And I was just really encouraging to the people around me. And I really felt that that was my calling, because like people would tell me like, you've really helped me here. I think that I was like a reason why some people stayed, because people would tell me that like I really helped during groups and things to like help bring out of people and make it fun. And I was like, wow, I think I really have something here. And it feels like I was helping people, and I felt really needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where I kind of said, what can I do in life? Like I was thinking maybe I should work at a rehab center. But what can I do in life to really help people in this way? And that's kind of where my new business called the Turtle Club came up. I was doing like a little writing exercise where I just jot down whatever comes to my mind. And I was kind of just getting pissed of how like the whole system works, because, you go to rehab and then you need to go to an outpatient program, which they do a lot of the mental health building blocks as well. They teach you all these different tools of like how to deal with life successfully, like how to manage stress in a healthy way, how to communicate your emotions, because a lot of us like don't know how to communicate what we're feeling, so we just bottle it up, and then that's what creates the problem. It was just all of these different tools that I now have in my toolkit that I just was sitting there thinking, should not just be for people that go through rehab or people that call the suicide hotline. This should be for everybody. And I was thinking of ways that we could do this, and I thought of like kind of the Soho House, or like, these clubs that people go to and just drink. Like, what if we had something that was sober, that was fun to go to and hang out
And cute.
And be able to really talk to each other and talk about these things and have these classes and these workshops where we're able to learn these tools and things like that. That isn't called rehab, and it's not called like a mental health facility. It's like called the Turtle Club, and it's fun and it's easy to walk in. You come in and you get to talk to each other. A lot of the classes that we do that I found really helpful are group therapy. So like it's not just me talking to a therapist alone. It's me talking to 15 other people about an issue, and like someone pipes in saying, yeah, I feel you. I agree. You're not alone. Not in those words necessarily, but the whole point is that there's so many people around that if you actually said how you felt in a group of people, you'd realize that like 80% of the people are like, yeah, same. When in reality, we walk around thinking that no one understands what we're going through. And I think it's so important to have that human connection with people. That really helped me. I saw smiles on other people's faces when someone would like pipe up and say, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Like people need to feel heard, seen. And that's really, I think, medicine within of itself. And if there was a place that people can go, be open and honest and share their struggles, share their wins, like celebrate with each other and get access to these tools in a fun way where there's like fun, sober drinks and fun things around, I feel like that would really change mental health like forever, because it wouldn't be looked at, I'm like having to work on myself. It would just be like, I'm getting to work on myself. Just that change inflection could change everything. I think it hasn't been done before. There's no place that you can go where it's fun to go to these things. It's looked at like really down, and it's also so expensive. You have to go through insurance. You have to like do all these hoops, and insurance can kick you out in a heartbeat. They kick so many people out. That was another thing that I had so many issues with. Is like they go based off of these notes that a therapist takes, and they say, "Oh, she seems better today. Like goodbye." And they just cut someone out, and they're just left to find something like this on their own. And there's nothing that they can get to unless they get back down to rock bottom and call the suicide hotline, or get back down to such a state where they have to go back to rehab. And I just think that it's flawed. The system is flawed in that way, because it almost encourages us to get back to a terrible state to get help.
Seems like you're creating something that's accessible mental health for people that want maintenance and don't need to wait till they're at the worst rock bottom of their life, or maybe they got past that, but they need to keep doing the work, and it's making the work easy for people, but also fun, because we don't want to maybe always go to places where we're surrounded by other people who are maybe just at the worst of where they're at. Maybe we can be around a bunch of other people who are maintaining or who are further than us. It's a very
preventative too.
Exactly. Definitely preventative.
Because a lot of people aren't that bad off, but they don't go and get help because they're like, I'm not that bad. But what if, like we don't want you to get that bad. Yeah. We want you to be good. So come in now, come in after. Yeah. I think if you're at a place where you need that serious help, you need to go to rehab, or you need that specific care, then go. I think that that's important to get that help like I did. I think it was amazing, but I want to keep doing this forever. I want this learning about myself and fixing and getting better at managing life to become like a normal day-to-day thing that I go to. And it's hard to find. So I'm creating it myself.
I love it. Yeah. When you came to me with the idea, I was like, I've never heard of this before. I like it. And that's what our buddy Jeremy, shout out to Jeremy, he said the same thing. Shout out to Not Coffee. She smuggled a whole bag full of Not Coffee. That's our buddy Jeremy's brand over.
I did feel a little bit of a smuggler.
It's his coffee alternative brand with mushrooms and adaptogenics and all this good stuff in it. And he's like, I'll send you a gift bag. And he opened this amazing Oasis spa in downtown LA. You guys got to check it out. And so I sent Annie to like, go meet my boy. He's a brilliant entrepreneur. I think this is a good idea for you guys to talk about. And this is like a big part, because he used to be an ex-drug dealer in Canada, got out, went into conscious work, plant medicines, breath work, and now he's a conscious entrepreneur doing amazing things. And it just shows like that was part of the reason why I wanted you around different people like this, to see like, hey, like there's all of this possible. Going from these like depths of things, but we don't need to stay there. You see other people who have done it and that have these switched on brilliant minds. And it's the same thing that you're trying to facilitate for Turtle Club. So if you're around these people that are doing stuff and then you get to go play and hang out with them, you get these new ideas.
Yeah.
And then he checked out your idea and he's like, I never heard of this before. I like it. I want to see it go. And I was like, right? Like I can see it. So that was a really beautiful confirmation to see he was like fully like, this is going to be something great. And so I'm excited to see where we go with it. And the first event will be at Karma House. August 24th and 25th.
Yep.
And
Mental Health Festival.
Yeah, Mental Health Festival. A bunch of amazing guest teachers coming in, and we'll do little mental health master classes. Still trying to work out if we can do the paint therapy room, because it sounds fucking cool and I like the idea of it. We just tape everything and throw a bunch of paint around. We're just dealing with the cleanup and the curtains and all that stuff. Just like, all right, this is gonna make sense. But I think it's gonna be super fun. Like the ideas that you pitched, like the paint therapy room sounds so fun, where we can just throw a bunch of paint around and just get wild with it.
Yeah.
And that'll be really fun.
We just need big white things and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. And to smash a fax machine. I mean, that's not going to happen at Karma House, but to have the smash room.
The smash rooms.
The smash room is a cool idea.
I do want to have smash rooms in this club, because I feel like that's a good way to get out anger. Yeah. So also in this club, there will be a lot of cool different types of therapy, like paint therapy and smash rooms where you can go in and smash things, and scream rooms where you're in or scream booth. I want these like soundproof
Yeah.
rooms where you can scream your head off and it's like no one can hear you, which I think is so important because we do a lot of scream therapy, and art therapy was a really big one too. There's a lot in painting and creating something and like reflecting back on what you did that really tells a lot about like your subconscious and like what you're thinking and not maybe realizing what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So all of that to be included in this fun, cute place.
And where does this leave you, like building this business? Where does that leave you with acting, and where's your attention set on now? Like, what do you want to do next?
Yeah, I feel like there hasn't been anything that I've gotten acting wise. Like I still look at the auditions that come in. There hasn't been anything that I'm motivated or like excited about. I feel like if that happens, I would go out for something and like try and still want to be on that if I felt like that set that I would be on would be really fun for me. But I am also producing a project and I'm going to be acting in that for sure. So that's still going. It's signed with Disney Plus and Universal Studios, and they signed it on, and I'm really excited about that. It just takes forever.
Yeah.
Like right now we're waiting for Disney to really love the pilot script. So we've been going back and forth on like the pilot, which is the first episode. And anyway, when that all is said and done and starts filming, I will be in that.
Cool.
Whenever that is.
I really love though, like that you got that pushing along. I personally haven't, having known you for a few months now, seeing your transformation, like you look like a totally different person.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see that. Like when you first walked into Karma House and we had our first meeting, we were talking about working together, and it was clear, like you were definitely in a space where you needed some help, where you were just transitioning.
Yes.
And then to see you now flourishing and blossoming in this project, taking life and all these things happening, I was like, I tell you every time I see you, I'm like, you look better every time I see you. Like it's amazing. It makes me super happy to see it.
Yeah.
Because I get to see you like heal and grow in front of my eyes. It's amazing to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of love for that because I've been there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so after I got sober, the eating disorder kind of ramped up because I there's something about getting rid of one thing and then something else just like becoming a thing.
I know.
And I actually didn't really realize I had an eating disorder. The only time in my life that I was like, oh, I have an eating disorder, or like this is like an active thing that I'm doing wrong, was when I was binging and purging. And that was like little tiny periods of my life. Like that was not happening during rehab. That wasn't happening after rehab. So I was thinking I'm fine. Like I'm great. I feel good. I was doing a yoga retreat or a yoga training here in Bali. Feeling good, feeling like my energy was good. Cause when I was dealing with the alcohol thing, right about to go to rehab, I thought I was going to die. Here, when the eating thing was really at its peak and I was at my lowest weight that I've ever been, about to die, not realizing it, I felt great. And what I learned is that with the eating disorder, you can feel like you're on a high, you can feel fine because your body is like in survival. So it was tearing me apart inside. Like everything was messed up when I went to the doctor. Everything was like out of whack because my body was like hanging on its last leg and I could have dropped at any second. So thank God I went in and got help for that because I was definitely in need of that. And it was also thanks to like my fans and people around me that were kind of telling me like, you are not okay, because I didn't see it. And normally in my mind, when I make a decision about myself, I'm right. Like I was like, I'm fine. I feel great, guys. Like everyone needs to know that I'm okay. Because if I wasn't okay, I would know, is what I thought. Like I would have thought that my body would really tell my brain, but there was such a disconnect going on that I wasn't aware of. And I'm glad that, there was a little bit of intervening happening and I went and got help because I feel better than I've ever felt. And finally, my body like matches my head. Like now we're connected because my mind is still there. Like I've always still had like this tenacious, like I want to do all these things and been really clear headed, at least I think. And now it's like I'm put back together.
What do you think was some of the most important practices that helped you get put back together?
Um, wow, a lot.
Hmm.
I think like the therapy, the groups with other people, like it really helped me to talk things out. Like I get a lot out of like talking and realizing things because I end up kind of realizing what was the issue or that thing. There's a lot of breakthroughs that I get through therapy, which are
Mhm.
like or downloads where you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, I just now got that. That's from this. And there's something about kind of connecting all the dots and really like working on yourself like a case study.
Mhm.
Like, who am I? How did I get here? Figuring it out, like writing it down, journaling it out, like figuring it out with someone else, like a therapist and a group of people that you can kind of be open with and like feel like you can relate and they can relate to you was really helpful. Also just all the personal stuff that I do, like my morning routine is guided meditation first thing before I do anything, to start my day. That's so important to me. Um, Also like affirmations, saying I am, and affirmations to myself. Actually, my what I've been doing on my Instagram, I've been posting videos every day of just like a little tidbit of either that day or what I learned or a little bit about myself, and that has been really helping me because it kind of keeps me accountable and puts a little bit of responsibility on my shoulders, which I thrive when I have like some responsibility and something
Mm.
like kind of keeping me accountable. Um, and I've been doing this thing called Friends Not Fans on my Instagram as well. So if you guys want to, it's the link in my bio. It is basically you can call and talk to me for 30 minutes and we just talk about whatever. And I am a friend to you, not like the person behind the screen only. Like I can also be a person and you're a person and we can talk about whatever. And that's been really great and helpful to people, which I feel like always helps me because I learn from them and they learn from me if they want to. Sometimes we just talk about whatever. Sometimes I'll get questions for like advice, but at the end of the day, I tell them and I tell everybody I'm not a therapist, I'm not licensed, like I'm not someone that's like really telling you what to do, how to do it. I'm telling you what I did and
Mm.
like what my experience was like. And if you take anything from that, then that's great.
How much time are you giving to these? Like, how much time a week are you doing these calls? Because I'm like, that gives me anxiety to have like that much access to me. How do you how do you make this work?
Actually, it's really not that many because I think people get nervous
Okay.
and don't really want to talk to me.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not very many. I have like a few regular people that I've talked to a couple times, but it's probably like an hour like 3 times a week
It's
or
a lot. That's
something.
generous of your time. It's great.
It's not, but that's not that much.
That would fucking stress me out. I love that you do that. It's really sweet. Really.
And I'm scheduling a group session, seeing if that kind of, works too. Cause I feel like this is something that I can do right now. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
wanting the Turtle Club to open up. I want this to exist
Yeah.
right now, but I can't do that right now. I'm working on it.
I like this. I really do. I think it's a good thing to go down, and I like that you're creating a community group to help support people, and that you put your heart into that. That you actually do it out of your own time. That really shows that you're really there for the people to like help and serve. Yeah, that's great because
Yeah.
people having that much access to me where I've got all this stuff going on, I'd be like,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
Listen,
maybe eventually it'll,
I think
slow down.
I think
But
the group model is a great idea though, because
yeah,
that'll help for Turtle Club getting it up and running and having
yeah,
this big community that's you've already been helping and nurturing and caring for, and they feel that it's perfect. I really love that, and I think that you're really on the right track. I'm excited to see where this goes. What would you like to see Turtle Club become in the next year?
I would like to see the Turtle Club in at least like 2 locations. One here in Bali, and I'm hoping like Los Angeles starting up. I would love to see it thriving with people in it and laughing and seeing smiles and tears all in the same day. Um, and people really walking out of there feeling inspired and feeling seen and heard and loved is really what I want to see. It, and I just can see it look wise too in my brain. And I'm just, I just want it to thrive.
I'm sure it's going to be really cute.
It'll be cute.
Annie, thank you so much for coming down, making the trip all the way down here. I appreciate you being on the show, and I appreciate you as a human.
Thank you.
Really excited to see what we do,
Yes.
how many people this serves, and see you blossom, continuing to grow and do dope shit. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Please join one of her calls. Do it for me. And give us a shout. Let us know how you like this episode of the Ink Pray Love podcast. And look out for the Turtle Club. It is going to be taking the world by storm and helping everybody have a clearer mind, mental health, and a place to connect. Thank you very, very much. See you on the next episode. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ink Pray Love podcast. I hope you found it inspiring, entertaining, funny, and also feeling a little bit more present and connected to yourself. Please leave a review and like and subscribe and do all those things. I'd really appreciate that. As well as if you're feeling in a giving mood, this podcast is there for the charities that I love to support. Go to www.aaronbaya.com/charity and get some of those good karma points. This podcast is brought to you by Lighthouse Studios in Bali, as well as Full Reset Coaching. That is my coaching practice. And if you're looking for help in business, inner game impact, and building your legacy to be something you're proud of, your brand, your business, and how you walk the earth and who you impact, and also having the mindset and the heart set to be able to be happy handling it all, I'm here for you. Just DM me. Let's go. Peace out, homies. I'll see you on the next episode.